What's the most FK'd up thing you've done for money? NSFW. Walked around a gay bar, I'm not gay, in my underwear promoting a drag show later that night. I'd let them buy me drinks and put money in my underwear as they cupped stroked my dick. I was 18. Went home with $1,500 after just 3 hours. I was so excited I didn't even care. I'm not gay. But for $1,500 you could touch my meat log all night. My sister used to pay me 10 OQ minutes to be her personal footrest as she watched TV. Hey, at $6 an hour you are almost making minimum wage to watch TV. I say congratulations. So how is she liking being a professional dominatrix? I let a medical researcher inject me with salt water so he could record how much pain I was in. Twice. How much pain was you in? Not me. But in 5th grade my brother took $20 to let a kid stab him in the hand with a fork. The kid's going places. I shat and pissed myself while a guy and his friend watched for $100. I really needed the money at the time. Not me. But very relevant. My first boss grew up in Cicero. Super shitty neighborhood. My boss was pretty crazy and got involved with some weird shitty when he was younger. One day, he was apparently walking around and man approached him and asked him if he would pee his pants for $500. Now, let's make something clear. When I say pee his pants I mean this guy asked my boss to whip his dick out, put it in the zipper hole of this random dude's pants and just pee. Boss spent it all on crack the next day. I didn't eat lunch at school for over a year so I could save up for a trampoline. Went on one of those adult webcam sites and, well, got naked. Did some other things. Easiest $200 I ever made. If I was a hot girl I'd totally do that. It seems like really good money if you're shameless enough. When I was a kid, I sold my neighbor one of Shaq's rap albums for $5. I am one of 7 children raised by a single mother. We were really broke. I mean eating mayonnaise sandwiches all day until hamburger helper was for dinner. My friend's mom had taken us to McDonald's after church on Wednesday. This was around Halloween and they were giving out trick-or-treat boxes for UNICEF. Basically you go door to door collecting donations for kids with polio and mail it in. Me and my little brothers went to every door in the neighborhood collecting money that we immediately spent on toothbrushes, toothpaste, and candy. The irony did go to waste on me at the time. Well, it's still charity. Just a different one. I webcammed a 50-plus-year-old guy and told him a bedtime story. Tucked him in and sang lullabies to him for $200. Doesn't sound FK'd up. But believe me, it was. Doesn't sound FK'd up, don't worry. It does. I was once paid to clean out a boat that police sold at auction. It was full of bilge water. And shell casings. Razor blades. A machete and trash. It felt so weird that the police just released it without pulling some of that stuff out of there. Another time, I was paid to sell 7,500 feet of used fire hose. That was an unbelievable mess. Who wants used fire hose? Crazy farmers from Idaho. They were brilliant and they took it all away. Put holes in it and instant watering system. Licked the floor of my school bus for $20. Not just a taste. A long drag of bus floor. In university a guy paid me $100 to study in his room. I didn't have to tutor him or anything, he just thought my studying would rub off on him. I was drunk at a karaoke bar in Sydney a few years ago running around the hallways for some reason. 2 30-something women told me they needed a stripper for their friend's birthday and they'd give me $200. So I walk into this brightly lit karaoke room with 15-20 women sitting around staring at me in a semicircle. I got naked. Sang Radio Gaga to a wall of camera flashes. Made a speech and got the FCK out of there. That's one hell of a story. Do you remember if the ladies were pleased with your performance? Personally, I got to say that if my mates promised me a stripper and then just brought me some drunk chick who took her clothes off and sang badly, I'm not sure how I would feel. Edit. Okay, IF King no OP is male. I say some drunk chick because I'm trying to imagine the same scenario from my male perspective. I had a friend at school who was infamous for being poor. People used to get him to do stupid stuff for money and he would go along with it. I doubt for the money. I think Morizo just enjoyed the attention. Anyway. Someone offers him $2 to eat a glue stick. One of the ones you wind up on the bottom which leverages a cylinder glue stick out the top. He obliges and takes a big mouthful of glue. The teacher notices the commotion and asks why the hell he ate it. To which he shrugs and replies with his mouth full of glue. It's not toxic? Full stop. I laughed about that for a good while. Was his name Kenny? As a kid, I bought the last firework for a couple of bucks in my local shop. And immediately after, a younger kid came in hoping to get his own. He wanted it so badly. I sold it to him for $20. I left the store to grab a soda further down the street. Came back and turned a corner to see the kid's mother yelling at him about getting ripped off. The kid was crying and the mother was furious. My friend and I immediately turned around and booked it for a few blocks. Then, about half an hour later, we were walking around the neighborhood. And the mother drives up fast and stops short in front of us. Rolls down the window and, still furious, asks me if my name is so and so. Somehow she had found out. As it happened, there was one other kid in our grade with the same name. So I told her no. But that there was a so and so that lived across town. She actually thanked me. Then sped off in the direction I pointed. I used to DJ at a strip club. One night a few guys came in to cheer one of them up, as he had just buried his brother earlier that day. One of them, already pretty drunk, comes up to me and says, "Hey, we're about to buy this guy a lap dance. Can you play taps when he gets it? We'll pay you $100. As they'd already said once or twice they were there to cheer him up. I said no. Of course not. He goes back. Has a brief conversation with the rest of his buddies. Comes back and says, "Alright. $250. Again. I turned them down. Long story short, they kept coming back with higher and higher offers. I finally caved at $1,000 and played taps while a guy who had buried his brother earlier got a lap dance from a stripper. The worst part was the look on the guy's face the entire time. Don't think I'll ever forget it. That was about 10 years ago and I still lay awake at night from time to time thinking what a piece of shit I was am. One time I sold grocery store portobello mushrooms to some freshmen for 120 bucks. I once deep-throated a banana on my Minecraft stream for PayPal donations so I had money to buy a burrito and a monster that night to continue streaming. Man. Of all the stuff in this thread, somehow yours is the most innocuous and the most pathetic. Phone Dom. Played video games while instructing him with specific ways to torture himself. $50 HR. Probably made like $800 total. He loved it. I kinda loved it. I miss doing it. And apparently I'm very good at it. I ate a mixing spoonful of bacon grease for $15 and a $5 coupon to Best Buy. Apparently my price is very low. Found a guy on Craigslist. He gave me $500 to suck his dick and give him a rim job. I needed money to fix my car. So you gotta do what you gotta do. And here I am doing that shit for free. Put my dick on an electric fence. Please tell me you made enough for a replacement dick. Not me but one of my friends. He was with some friends one night and they dared him to tase himself in the nuts for $12. Recorded it and believe me when I say it looked like the most painful thing ever. Not money, but bartering. I crumpled up aluminum foil and covered it with gold Sharpie ink. Then I told a kid it was gold and traded it for a Charizard card. I immediately felt guilty. You were quite the enterprising young man. Sucked 2 men off and did other stuff as well with them. Much older men. If you're already gay, be entrepreneur. Not Showed my 10-year-old non-boobies to a ginormous 14-year-old guy for all of the change he'd stolen from his mom. Not even a full dollar. Edit. In response. I'm a mature adult now. This happened when I was 10. He wanted to see more bits. I was satisfied with candy bar money. And didn't show more. He knocked me down in school later because I didn't. I've no idea why he was even interested in an undeveloped female's bits. There. I think I answered it all. Oh. And I don't show my bits for money anymore. You guys are funny. We had metal picnic tables at school. They hadn't been cleaned for approximately 2 years. I poured water on it so it brought up years worth of birch tea and dirt and people's food and licked it for $15. Tasted like pineapples. Ate a cockroach for $20. Which I spent on meat pies at school for me and my friends. Edit. Meat pies at school for me and my friends. I tutored a guy in a subject I had zero idea about. He ended up getting a 0/200 on his test the next day. Edit. I had tutored the guy in another subject before with pretty good results. But one day he asked me to teach him chemistry. A class that I had never taken. I literally learned the material as I read it in his textbook with him. After he got his test score back, his parents never said another word to me and they hired a professional tutor. Well, it all starts when a nulecule comes out of its nest. Worked in a call center. Being continually shouted at all day kind of kills your soul. Some girl in my town is known for sucking off her little brother. Not for money but for cigarettes. But how does the little brother get cigarettes easier than the older sister? Was paid $25 US to ejaculate in a tube and carry it to the hospital for a research. Stuck my dick in a hill of fire ants for $50. That was the last thing I ever stuck my dick in. All I can imagine is one crawling up your urethra now. Oh god. I wiped the shitty from a corpse's ass for $10. Will tell the story if anyone is interested. A lot of dick sucking. I let a guy try and give me a blowjob for UACute 150. I'm straight. I used to work at Comcast. How are you adjusting to life without your soul? Sold encyclopedias door to door. Got drunk. Got paid about $100 to sit in a room with 4 people. Drink a substantial amount of booze. Watch a homemade tape about women abuse and answer some questions. I ate a used band-aid from the floor of the computer science room for $22. Oh god no. Robbed a drug dealer because another drug dealer made me. He ended up not paying me. But I was only doing it for money. When I was a broke college girl, I took a summer class to graduate on time. My sorority sisters had all gone back home, which left me alone. Bored and broke. I took to Craigslist and for months spent my Sundays as a topless maid for a 40-something businesswoman. The money was great and her house was immaculate as is. So I was essentially eye candy, I always presumed. She doubled the rate one weekend. And expressed her desire to shackle my arms and legs together like a prisoner while I cleaned. I agreed. And spent the next 3 hours wondering if she let me go. At a high school football game freshman year. Pulled some of the feathers out of my coat. And snorted them in my nose. Just for laughs. Fast forward 3 years. I cough really hard. I ate a whole milk-bone dog treat for all the money in my stepdad's pocket. Not me, but a girl I know gets paid to wear underwear and then sell it. One guy bought her 10 pairs of panties. Told her to wear them. I offered to trim some guy's armor. I didn't give it back. I was vacationing in Cairns. A dude bet me $200 to lick this fat pimply girl's back. She was wearing a tank top. I did. My tongue was coated in human oil. I wasn't happy. But the dude that bet me the money threw up in the bar just watching me do it. Dressed up like the Loch Ness Monster and harassed a nice black couple for about $3.50. Edit. I sold a dead parakeet to a blind kid. Cutco. Colon. Back in school, I let a gay guy give me a full body massage for $100. His ruse was that he was studying to be a massage therapist and his school allotted him money to pay for people to practice on. I didn't care as it was win-win for me. I piss on somebody's face to wake them up every morning for $300. When I was in primary school I ate a piece of chalk for a roll. I had a running offer in elementary school. If you buy me milk cartons, I will drink them. Got 10 in a lunch period. Admiration of my peers. Sold my soul in 10-hour increments inside a cubicle for 18 years. I made $100 the other week by drinking old, dirty bong water. I had a kid in high school do almost anything. Not for money, but for Diablo 2 items. One time we made him eat gum with lead in it. We gave him a named Wind Force socketed with a perfect topaz for people who are familiar with the game. I once worked retail. I didn't go through with it, but I found an ad on Backpage looking for a guy who was willing to fart in another man's face while he masturbated. It called for no sex to be involved, and he was willing to pay cash. My wife was encouraging me to go through with it, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I was the one paying the money. I made a female friend of mine eat way too much food, like 2 restaurant-sized meals, then she threw up and gave me a blowjob. For $40 plus the cost of dinner. Once, I prostituted my grandfather. He was an old drunk, but he loved sucking dick. Moved to Dubai. Reddit is full of cheap WH-res. Once I used what is essentially a small, gas-powered helicopter blade to murder the millions of living things living around my grandparents' house. I had to clean the device afterwards, and it was covered in flesh and dripping fluids. I was paid afterwards. Unsolicitedly. I spent my winnings on a bottle of memory erasure. I can still smell the acres of sinew, and feel the rattle of the machine in my arms. I will never be the same. I also mowed my grandparents' lawn for money. I used to be an escort, so gave up booty. I worked at McDonald's for 4.5 years. Try 6. I ended up walking out because I contemplated laying my face onto the grill and closing the clamshell. Spending 9h a day. 5, sometimes more, days a week. 50 weeks a year. 45 years of life going to work seems quite f***ed up once you really think about it. At least the straight guy who gave someone a rim job was done with it quick. Stepped on a guy's face with shoes on after stepping on Aureus. Kid at my high school ate a bloody tampon for $20. He got it down. I was impressed. Then he got tested for STDs cause no one knew whose tampon it was. I made Avatar into a movie. I once sucked a guy's dick for the bus fare then walked. Because the bus ride would have been awkward,